Society, platform for eminent authors, engaging teachers, successful students. To know more, email. Tender to perform. Tender to perform or offer to perform means offer, that is readiness to perform as per contract. Sometimes one party offers to perform the obligation but other party will not allow it. The contract is deemed to have been performed by the tenderer, that is the party who agrees to perform. Types of tender. Tender is normally of following types: tender of goods and or services. It is attempted performance of a promise to do something. Tender of money. It is attempted performance of a promise to pay something. Conditions of tender. Tender or offer to perform should meet the following conditions. Unconditional. The offer must be unconditional. It becomes conditional when it is not in accordance with the terms of the contract and hence not a valid tender. Any new condition imposed later by the performer is treated as conditions. Example: A debtor offers to pay B, his creditor, the due amount on the condition that B sells him certain shares at cost. This is not a valid tender. Full obligation. It must be the obligation in full. A tender to fulfill only a part of the obligation is not a valid tender. Example: a debtor owes rupees 10,000 to B. A tenders to pay only rupees 5,000. It is not a valid tender. Example: A contracts for delivery of 4,950 tons of wheat to B, but A delivers 4,948 tons. Held, the contract was duly performed by the seller. Proper person and form. It must be made to proper person, to the promisee or his authorized agent, and in proper form as agreed. Proper time and place. It must be made at the proper time and place as per contract, or at the business place and during business hours if not mentioned in contract. Example: A owes B rupees 1,000 payable on the 1st of August with interest. He offers to pay on the 1st of July the amount with interest up to 1st of July. It is not a valid tender as it is not made at the appointed time. Joint premises. It may be made to one of the several joint promises. In such case, it has the same effect as a tender for all of them. Inspection of goods. In case of tender of goods, the promisee must get proper opportunity to inspect the goods. A tender of goods at a time when the other party cannot inspect the goods is not a valid tender. Legal tender. Tender of money must be in legal tender, that is rupees in India. Effects of tender. The tenderer is discharged from the responsibility for non-performance of the contract without any prejudice to his rights against the promisee. Tender of goods and services. Rights. The promiser does not lose his rights under the contract. Discharged. The promiser is discharged from his obligation under the contract. Responsibility. The promiser is not responsible for non-performance of his promise. Sue. The promiser is entitled to sue the other party. Tender of money. rights. The promisor does not lose his rights under the contract. Responsibility. The promisor is not responsible for non-performance. Debtor's obligation. The debtor is not discharged from obligation to pay, but he is discharged from liability for payment of interest from the date of tender. Thank you for watching the video. Kindly write your comments. Click on the red subscribe button at the bottom of the video to get more details and free ebook. Email us.